We are back, episode 124. Took a little break, and we're back better than ever.
Feeling revived, feeling refreshed. We have a guest coming on for tonight. We'll get to him in a minute. First, we got to take a second to tell you about our friends over at Moon Golf. The boys are in for 2025. We keeping the partnership going. This is year 3, right?
Year 3, yeah.
Year 3 with Moon.
Better than ever.
Not better than ever. And so in a few weeks, as we get ready to launch into 2025, me and Zach will be dropping up some news and some new stuff happening with BSG that we're excited about. Even some trips and stuff we're planning. So we don't want to keep y'all guessing on anything. So we're going to let y'all in on stuff, but that's coming up later. First, we have to say thanks to Moon Golf for everything they do. If you're looking for golf equipment, if you're looking to get fitted, if you're looking for honest advice on what stuff you should get, head to Moon Golf. If you're local, go to Auburn. If you're not, check out their website. Take your game to the moon with Moon Golf. That's what we do. So we recommend it for you.
I'm so excited for 25.
I know it's going to be so good.
Moon.
They're good to us, so we're excited about it. Tonight's show, though, we have Chris Mayson coming on, who is a golf coach. He's coached world number ones, PGA Tour champions, LPGA Tour champions, U.S. Amateur champions, the number one amateur in the world. And so we're going to kind of talk to him about some stuff that he goes through as he's coaching players. So that's coming up on tonight's show, followed by our clubhouse segment where we're going to talk about different things in BSG. We'll have our pick'ems, like always, for the PGA Tour and LPGA Tour. Our first Breaking 50 has been filmed. It'll be coming out soon. We're going to kind of dissect a little bit of that, not enough to give it away. And then our 4 segment, here's what's to come. And, of course, we end it with the drop zone. We have the question for everybody tonight. So it's going to be a good episode. We're excited about it. Let's jump into our interview with Chris Mayson. Awesome. Well, we're going to jump into it if that's okay with you, just so we don't take much of your time up. So let me get this pulled up.
First question: have you mailed that sweet Cobra hoodie yet? They don't really sell it with the logo on it like that. The new ones are blank.
Yeah, they've got a white one, and then I think they give me sort of a black one that's not a hoodie. But just send me your address. I'll send.
It's on the way. Well, everybody, this is Chris Mayson, one of the 50 best teachers in America, 2024 and 2025. And so we're honored to have Chris on because we love learning from people like you that have just been around the game. And we've got a few topics we want to jump into, but I want to ask first, probably one of the things that I think is the coolest before we get to the teaching. Caddying for Brendan in 2017, he wins a PGA Tour event. What was it like to be a winning caddy on the PGA Tour?
I mean, it's probably going to be the greatest experience of my career because I'm here with one of my, really good friends, and the PGA Tour. And it was the very first time I'd ever caddied on the PGA Tour. So I was a little bit nervous, just making sure I was kind of keeping up and doing the right things. And for him to win on the very first time I caddied was just absolutely incredible.
So you just retire from caddying after that since you're 1 for 1?
I know I should have. Actually, we had some good chances the next couple of years. He, in Sony, he had a 2-shot lead with 2 to go, and then Cam Smith ended up catching him, and we lost in a playoff. And then the year after that, he had a 3-shot lead with 9 to go, and Kevin Na started hooping everything on the back 9. So we finished second, I think, both those years. So we've had some chances, but just as a coach to be in that environment, and as a former player who failed basically and never made it, it was such a cool thing to be in the fire and feel what it feels like. And also, like, you don't understand when you're watching on TV that, the margins are so fine between winning like he did the first time and then losing in a playoff and then, like, someone catching him on the back 9. Like, you just keep running good mental process and hope it works out for you. But, I could go back to a couple of shots that he hit when he won where like, wow, that was the shot. And I could go back to a couple of shots when he lost when I'm like, oh man, if that had just like carried the bunker by a foot, like everything would have been different. And those are the margins, that the difference between winning and losing. It's incredible.
What's the pressure like the Sony being in a playoff? Like, does it get a little tighter? Like you're thinking, oh, I've really got to know these numbers really good. Or is it still just kind of same vibe the whole time?
You try and keep running the same process, but for me, because I'm not a regular caddy, not that I'm slower with everything, but I double check everything. So I I kind of run ahead a little bit further ahead, I would say, in order to make sure I've got the right sprinkler and I try and make sure I'm looking at the right bunker or the right tree to make sure it's the correct sprinkler that I'm walking towards, just so that when he gets there, I'm ready and I feel good about the information.
Yeah.
So I think for the most part, I've done a decent job with that. I mean, I'm sure, Christian, his normal caddy, is obviously a much, much better caddy than I am and better with the numbers. But I think as a coach and as a friend being on the bag, it helps him with his mental process, I would say, a little bit more. Because instead of him leaning on Christian to make decisions on shots, I'm like, hey, look, you're the player. Like, you tell me what you're going to do. Don't ask me because this is the first time I've been on the bag.
Yeah. Oh, this is cool for us. This is our first PGA Tour winner ever on our podcast. You're a PGA Tour winner, so it's neat for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess let's take it. Let's go back. How did you even start this journey into golf? Not just coaching, but like getting into golf and falling in love with the game.
I obviously I grew up in England and played all the English sports. I went to a really like big sports school, and sports was a big deal. And my best friend, his parents would play 4 or 5 times a week, and they took him out to play a little six hole par 3 course. And I just, I was 6 or 7 years old, and I was like, oh, I really want to go with you. So I went, and then just got so addicted to it. Went straight home, said to my dad, hey, I really want to play golf too. So they got me some clubs, and I had my first ever hole in one at the age of 8.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I need one of those.
My only claim to fame really is I was in the Guinness Book of Records for being the youngest person in Britain to have a hole in one.
Another
that's crazy.
amazing feat for us as a guest on the podcast. Guinness World Record holder.
So we're just gonna start putting check marks. Guinness Book, check.
Yeah.
Winning caddy, check.
Yeah. So the Guinness Book people come down, take all these photos of me. They're like, hey, at the end of the year, you're going to be in the book and congratulations and all this. And then I get a call, I think it was like October. Mine was in January, and I think I got a call in October that some little bugger from Scotland was like 6.5 and hooped it. So I never the book.
Yeah. He probably was 10 yards out just chipping and they counted it.
Yeah, probably.
Give it back to Chris. We're going to call them and say we need to give that one back to Chris.
Oh yeah. So that was obviously a big deal, and then I played all these other sports growing up, and I just loved only relying on myself. You hear the story a lot in golf. People go from these team sports into an individual sport, and I just loved that it was all on me, and I couldn't blame anybody else, and it just kind of moved into playing a lot more golf, and gave up cricket, and I gave up rugby and gave up soccer just to really focus on the golf when I was about 15 or 16. And, it's been good to me, and it's worked out really well, obviously. And, found America because of the college scholarship, and that's basically changed my life, that decision coming here.
Well, it's probably a little easier on your body on the rest days than rugby was too.
Yeah, I would say.
Let me ask you this then: as you're coaching, even if you have younger students come in, do you like for your students when they're multi-sport athletes like that, or do you prefer a student to come in and I'm locked in, dedicated to golf all year?
It's a really great question, Casey. The issue is becoming that people are starting to specialize earlier and earlier. And as a parent, my son's 15, my daughter's 13, they're starting to kind of start specializing as well. And unfortunately, there's a bit of a rat race here. And as a parent, you feel like you're getting left behind if you don't have your kids in the sport all year, and you don't have them do private lessons, and you don't have them go and see the trainer and get physically strong. You feel that pressure of getting left behind. But I was just saying to a parent yesterday, I think the ones that will win eventually, whether that's playing on the PGA Tour or just being a better player, would be the ones who stay in the sports, the ones that are playing basketball or playing football, who are learning, how to be an athlete, how to compete, how to run fast, jump high. Those are the ones that will move into golf and end up, surpassing these specialized kids. And that's always my advice for parents is to try and keep them in sports as long as they love it and they want to do it. I would keep them in sports, at least until they're 15 or 16, and then to start moving into the other stuff. They might be late in terms of getting the college scholarships to the elite programs, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to end up being a really great professional golfer.
I'm taking that note to heart. I got a 17-month-old, and we were trying to specialize already.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna spread her out.
I'm just trying to get her to the golf course with Dad. That way, in the future, when she's old enough, she's like, I want to go to the course with Dad to just hit and just enjoy the game the way that I do instead of any of the others.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I say this with my son. At the end, if he loves his time with me and he loves the game of golf, that'll be enough for me.
Yeah.
He's the best player in the world, or he just stops playing golf at 20 years old and doesn't want to play college. That's fine. Like, I just want him to love his time with me and love the game.
Where at in your career did it kind of click for you? You think, okay, playing is fading out and this love for coaching is kind of turning up a little bit, and you made that decision. Still love the game, but different way of approaching the game. How'd you get into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think my story's similar to a lot of coaches in that I was one of the best junior players in the world, and then moved into college and had a decent college career, but never really dominated. And then golf had been my life and my passion, and I felt like I should turn pro. I'm like, that's just sort of the transition here, and I didn't know what else to do, so started playing professionally and had some success, but not the kind of success that was needed. And you just start realizing that the players around you are much, much better than you. And my passion was always helping people. I loved the golf swing. When I was, when I'm watching TV, I'm slowing everything down and seeing what Tiger's doing and Phil Mickelson and VJ, seeing all these early 2000s people going on YouTube and looking at the golf swings there. I'm reading every single book possible on golf instruction, thinking that it was helping me as a player, and it wasn't. It was just transitioning me to becoming a coach, because I thought the more I knew, the better I would play. And it actually worked out completely opposite to that. The more I delve into the instruction side, the more I tried stuff on myself, the more I videoed my swing, and I turned myself into a coach rather than a better player. And I kind of use that experience now to help my players and hopefully redirect their career in the right way rather than moving them into the coaching realm. But I that last year I was playing, I'd hurt my back. I was playing very poorly, and a lot of the mini tour players I was playing with would come to me for advice. They would seek my advice, whether it was a putt in the short game, the swing. I had a great eye for it, and it was actually quite an easy transition, just because I was so much more interested in the other players playing well than I was myself. So the transition was easy. I knew what I wanted to do. I was passionate about coaching. I had a good eye for it. And then, as soon as I started coaching, I kind of had a built-in clientele, because all these guys on the mini tours that I was playing with would end up coming to me.
Well, I have to say, first off, this is kind of off subject, but it's timely. Your Halloween costume was amazing. I have to tell you that. Especially as an American and seeing your love for such a cheesy American movie like that. I have to say, top tier, Napoleon Dynamite.
Of all my Instagram posts, Casey, I think that's probably the most commented on.
Oh, really? you crushed it. I will say you crushed it.
We have time for you to do the dance.
Had you already seen the movie before you did that costume, or did you have to watch the movie to prepare for that costume?
Oh no, we've watched that movie a bunch of times.
Okay.
We had so much time with the kids. My wife and I were just like running through all these old school films.
Uh-huh.
That one really hit, and we all were in hysterics. And my son does a great impression of Napoleon, and we're around a couple of months ago, and like, oh, what should we be this year for Halloween? And I was like, what about Napoleon Dynamite? And it hit. So it was very, very funny.
How do you balance coaching some amazing PGA Tour players and then you throw in like amazing athletes like Lydia Ko? Um, is it kind of the same? Y'all work on the same kind of stuff with PGA, LPGA athletes? Because I'll say this: when I watch LPGA, I'm always amazed how smooth their swings are, but how effective it is. And then you go to the PGA Tour and everybody's swinging out of their shoes. So is it a different coaching technique, or is it hey, we work on the same stuff?
I mean, there's different. I would say there's different time spent,
Mm-hmm.
LPGA to PGA Tour in terms of like where you're spending the time. Um, but the X's and O's don't really change, right? Like whether you're a beginner or whether you're Tiger Woods, you're either hooking it too much, you're slicing it too much, or the contact's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically fixing those three things. And as a coach, you need to have the tools in order to be able to fix those three things. So players are coming for the most part to improve their score, obviously, but in terms of the golf swing stuff, there's a shot that they don't like, and we're trying to find the details that are going to make that better and put some polish on it. In terms of the time spent, what I was alluding to is, with the PGA Tour guys, driving the ball has become very, very important. You have to hit it far. Most of them have a one-way miss, and if you can't get off the tee, you're just never going to be able to compete. And then a lot of distance wedges, a lot of time is spent on that. Whereas with the women, irrespective of how far they hit it, a lot of the women have got, I would say, sort of 7-iron to hybrid in, and then those are more of the scoring clubs. So we're spending a lot more time sort of in that range, just in order for them to be able to hit the ball close and have some options into the greens.
I love it. Uh, so you're currently right now splitting time at the number 5 ranked course in America up in New York. By the way, Zach and I are ready to pack our bags and come film a lesson with you. We'd love to do it. Just let us
I
know.
got Sky Miles
We're
ready.
ready to use them, Chris. We'll put a video out next week. You're there and you're in Santa Fe and San Diego, right? At Rancho Santa Fe, I mean.
Yeah.
What's it like for you balancing that going West Coast East Coast? Like, do you spend some months up here, depending on where the tour's at, on what swing?
Yeah. It's interesting. I was not necessarily looking for a new job or new opportunity, and I hadn't taught any amateurs for about 12 or 13 years. I'd very much decided right when I got into coaching that I wanted to teach elite players. All my studying and background was into sports performance, sports psychology, the technical aspect. Like I wanted to teach the best players in the world, and basically just walked straight into that. Very fortunately, and then about 4 or 5 years into my career, I just decided, hey, I was so busy. Like the only people I were going to take on, you had to be over the age of 13, and you must have shot in the 60s in a tournament. So that was basically the two parameters in order to kind of sift people out. So I really didn't have a whole lot of experience of teaching. I would say club players, like normal amateur players. Um, and then I was at the Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass and overheard a couple other tour coaches talking about this job. And just as a joke, I said, "Oh, what's national? Where's that?" And everybody kind of stopped on the putting and all the PGA Tour players, and they're like, "Oh my God, you've got to go for this job. It's going to change your life." So yeah, that night I was on the phone with one of the guys on the board, and it just sounded like an incredible opportunity. And the deeper I got into the interview process, it's just an incredible place.
Yeah,
Not only from how good the golf course is, but to how incredible the staff is, to how amazing the members are. It really has changed our lives for the better, and we're forever grateful because of that.
yeah.
Um, but it's a different if it's a different job. It's the players are less mobile. They don't play as much. They're looking for immediate impact in terms of the number of lessons I give where they're like, oh, I'm just going to go straight to the first tee after this lesson, and I'm like, wow, like that's a different lesson. Probably I'm just going to do something a little differently here just to make this easier for you. Versus that I'm coming back to Rancho and working with the best players in the world. So it's a different job, but exciting and challenging, and I'm very, very grateful just to be at both places.
When you go to somewhere like that and then go back to the elite players, are you like, wow, this is a different species of people. Because I
Yeah,
feel like when I play, I know what my strengths and weaknesses are, and then you see someone like Justin Thomas or Bryson, and them hit, you're like, oh, we're different. We're I'm an old like a caveman compared to them being a human as far as talent level.
yeah. um, it's I have a saying. I have a lot of coaches come and watch me teach and spend the day with me and try and mentor them. And I always say to them, my job's very easy because within 3 swings, the person in front of me usually can do what I'm asking them to do.
Yeah.
My job is also difficult because within 3 swings, they're going to know if I'm full of shit or not, right?
Yeah.
They know if I know what I'm talking about because they're going to be able to do what I'm wanting them to do. Whereas the members that I'm working with, if they're a little older, maybe they're less coordinated, they don't move their body quite as well. So I'm working much harder to move them into the patterns that I want because I know that's going to work for them. So I feel for the most part I'm right with the information, but the job is more difficult because they're not doing it right away. They've never moved that way in their life. So I'm really creating a new kind of neural pathway in order to, and then they feel very uncomfortable with the what feels like an enormous exaggeration of what I'm trying to get them to do. So it's a much more challenging job, but also sometimes very rewarding when a player is able to do what you're asking them to do.
One of my next questions was going to be what's one of the coolest moments of your career so far? But as I think back now, this may not be it, but if I think back to September, even though you're European, you were wearing some red, white, and blue, um, and to see Allison hole out somebody that you're working with and stuff. What was that like? That had to be a super cool moment.
Yeah, it was incredible. Obviously you're alluding to the Solheim Cup. So I had 2 players got on the American team, Sarah Schmalzel and Alison Lee, and
Mm-hmm.
be there the whole week with them was spectacular. I mean, I've had players on the Solheim Cup teams before, but I've actually never gone before. So it was really good to be there and felt like I was part of the team, even though it was the American team.
Yeah.
And,
We're welcoming.
Yeah.
That's right. It was cool. Like Puma sent me a bunch of this American gear that they've got from the Volition America line, and I was like, oh, feel like I'm really part of the team here. So yeah, and it's interesting with the build up. It felt very much like being at a major. Everyone's excited to be there on the Monday, and then the Tuesday you start to get to work a little bit, and Wednesday, Thursday everyone starts to get a bit more nervous and a little quieter and a bit tighter. So I'm really glad I was there. And yeah, you're talking about Saturday. Alison Lee holed out on the second hole, and I mean the moment's gone viral now because
Yeah.
her caddy took his shirt off and was running around.
Did you take your shirt off and run around?
Amazing.
I'll say probably my favorite outfit of yours from that was the Puma shirt that was just covered in bald eagles. that that's the you should have framed that shirt because that's American right there. That's all America.
Yeah, it was a bald eagle carrying an American flag. I was like,
Yeah, it doesn't get any more American than that.
yeah, that was a sweet shirt.
So other than that, is there anything in your career that just stands out as like one of the coolest moments off the top of your head that you can think of, or was that kind of it?
Yeah, I mean, you've brought up a couple of big ones. Obviously, caddying and winning was just incredible. The Solheim Cup this year was very special because when Sarah came to me last October or November, I didn't see a Solheim Cup player in front of me, and she's really transformed herself. Physically, she's changed her technical, like the mental's getting there. Like she's really turned herself into a world class player, and then getting a pick to be on that Solheim Cup was very special, and to be there and sort of enjoy that with her was really great. And then only a few weeks later, I was in Indiana, and a young man who I've taught since the age of 12 years old, Ricky Castillo, got his PGA Tour card. So that was a really special moment too. So it's been a good year. It's certainly a great few months. So. Yeah, I'm very lucky. The coaching aspect is weird because it's other people's success that are making you look successful. And it's, at the end of the day, you're a very small part of a player's journey, and you hope you can say the right thing at the right time that makes a real impact and changes the trajectory of their career and their life. But it doesn't always work like that, and it's the players that are making the coach. It's certainly not the other way around.
When you find out someone like Ricky gets their card, is it something you're like, this this is one of the moments you just get emotional thinking about what you did together to get there? And I'm sure it's the same when someone's like, I can't chase it anymore.
Yeah,
Thanks for all your help getting to where we got. Is sometimes it's just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's certainly the case. With in Ricky's aspect, he's always been one of the best players in the world, right? Like it was just a matter of time until he got there. I mean, I feel like this is more of a start of his journey in his career and his life. Like he's where he should be. He was somewhat destined for that. The guy's got magic in his hands. I'm just so privileged to have been around him and had the opportunity to work with him. Um, and it felt a little bit more like relief when he finally got his card. And I said to him, hey, like you need to go on a holiday or buy yourself something nice. You've got to celebrate this. Because a lot of the times in golf, we're just getting punched down the entire time. And there's so small wins. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a 15 handicapper or the best player in the world. Like most of the time, you don't play the way you hope to play. So when you do get an opportunity to play well and you do win, it should be celebrated. So that was great. And to your point, Zach, I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with someone who's decided to stop. And it's a tough decision to make, as a player. But I having gone through that myself, it's not, oh, I missed Q school, I'm done. It's a cancer that's been growing for a while. Like things are not going your way. You're not quite good enough. The journey and the road ahead of you is very, very long. But it's a very tough decision to make when someone decides to stop playing professionally.
We talk to a lot of college golfers on here, and of course, everybody's dream is the same,
Yeah,
to get to the tour, but it's not available for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things which I've never had a talent like that to to chase or decide to give up. So I'm sure it's one of those where you play bad one week and you're like, maybe this ain't for me, and then you go back and then you do it again and
yeah,
then you do it again, and eventually you're like, I don't know if I can do this. So I'm sure it's just as emotional to see someone you've worked with or have a connection with, to see it that way as it is to conquer and finally get the card. Even though the card's the beginning, it's still a major victory just to check that box off.
yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. And a lot of people ask me whether I'd want my son to be a professional golfer, and I'll support him whatever it is that he wants to do. But anybody that embarks on being a professional golfer as a career is embarking on a very, very, very difficult journey
Mm-hmm.
where there will be way more depressive moments than there will good moments. And golf is so difficult and so infuriating. And to want to do that every day for your living, you have really got to be a special type of person. And the issue we're coming to now is as the PGA Tour starts to turn the screws and have less and less players make it. They just moved the cards to 100 players making it for 2026. They've just reduced the Corn Ferry cards from 30 to 20. Like you're not having very many players who are going to feel comfortable that they're going to have somewhere to play year after year after year. You're talking about maybe 100 people in the whole world between the PGA Tour, the Live, the DP World, the Japan, the Asian. 100 people were like, yeah, I'm good enough. I've got enough status where it's going to carry me through for 4, 5, 6 years. I know I'm going to be on this tour. Like that is a very, very difficult journey, and you've got to be two things. You've got to be a little bit of a maniac in order to want to do that. And now it's pretty much only the absolute superstars that are making it. The kids who dominated junior golf, dominated college golf, and now they're moving their way quickly through the Korn Ferry Tour and getting to the tour, PGA Tour, and staying there. There's very few stories of like a Zach Johnson who went to, I think, Drake, who was a D3 school and worked his way up and made it. Like there's very, very few stories like that now, just because there's not that many people who are able to make it.
We've had guys on that college golfers that some are, their answer is, well, when the money runs out, I'm giving it up. And then just 2 weeks ago, we had Brendan Valdez on, who at the time was #1 PGA Tour U ranked golfer. Now he's dropped to #3. But for him, his answer is like, oh, I'm playing PGA Tour golf, because he knows that most likely it's his senior year. He's in the top 10 of PGA Tour U. He knows where he's going. And you can kind of see it off of him as we talk to him, like this confidence and this, I may make it, I don't know, kind of deal. So
you're exactly right. Like the top ones, they know, everybody around them knows they're just that good at golf. Even if injured, they'd figure out a way to continue to be that good at golf.
Yeah.
And there's a certain magic that they have in terms of like creating a score, and Ricky certainly has that.
Bryson talked about it last year or the year before. He said the issue is your top 75 or 100 guys have enough sponsorships to cover everything that's necessary between the nutrition and like a psychiatrist, like a mental coach, and then you got your gym and you got all the gear, the travel, everything. He said you got 75 guys that have that no matter what, because they're that good. He said once you're outside of that, you're playing for your mortgage every Thursday, Friday, and that's where it separates, because you miss one shot on Thursday, you're not playing Saturday, and now it becomes an issue. You still got to pay your caddy. How do I get to the next week's event? And it's only getting tougher.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just become such a difficult sport to create a career that's long enough and that would be able to sustain you. And that's, I think, that's a little bit of what Liv were trying to do, is sort of guaranteed contract. It's like, hey, like you're a professional player, like you're a top player. You deserve to be paid like a professional athlete. Now, whether you believe that or not, it's the only sport that is not subjective, right? You either shoot the score or you do not shoot the score. Like there's nothing subjective about golf, and I think that's why we all love it. Having said that, would it be nicer to have sort of guaranteed contracts as well? That would be awesome as well. Like people have got to feed their families and do what's right for them.
So we got just 2 more questions for you, kind of different subject. When you still play, what's your current handicap when you're playing? Because people love to know this question.
When I'm at National, it's basically the only time I play. So I think I played 20 times this summer. I did a scramble with my buddy last week, which I typically would not do. So I'm basically putting my clubs away September 1st and then picking them up again at the end of May.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I carry a +2, but whenever we do betting in the summer, I just play off scratch.
Yeah,
which I think is fair. I mean, I'm showboating here, but I was lucky enough to play Pine Valley with Bob Rotella summer, which was epic. I mean, such an epic time. But I don't think I broke 80 twice at Pine Valley. I can get going sideways, Casey. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, that's cool that you get to play.
To continue on that, what's your favorite course you've played? Is Pine Valley like #1?
Yeah, Pine Valley's #1. Yeah, I just think it's so exceptional. There's no real views. There's not really any water out. Well, there is some water out there, but like it's not like you're on the ocean like a Cypress or a Pebble, or even Nationals on a bay there. It's just the best collection of golf holes. It's just so spectacular, the experience of staying in the cabins and doing the dinner and the breakfast. I mean, it's just such an incredible place. I would say I'm biased, obviously, about National, but I think National is probably the greatest architectural golf course that I've ever seen. It's so incredibly genius, and every single hole is a masterpiece. And I've never, in Pine Valley included, like I've never gone to a place that's so architecturally brilliant as National is. Now, it's not it. What it's not is a championship golf course. It doesn't have the length or the difficulty,
Mm-hmm.
even when they firm it and fasten it up. It just doesn't have the length anymore. But it's certainly the most enjoyable golf course that I've ever played. And anybody that's played National and is lucky enough to play National would probably tell you the same thing. Yeah.
And then last question. Our listeners love to know this. Run us through what's in your bag from driver to golf ball. We like to know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm sponsored, so I'm a little bit biased, but I have a Cobra Dark Speed 9 degree driver LS with a Ventus 7X, I think, black. It's pretty sharp, pretty stiff driver. I have the Dark Speed 3 wood and 5 wood. I just put in the new 3D printed irons, iron through pitching wedge, which are absolutely incredible. I was actually bitching to the Cobra guys this weekend that they go too far. Like, who bitches that the clubs go too far? They're so easy to hit. The misses are incredible for someone like me who's basically only playing 2 or 3 months a year.
Uh-huh.
Like, they're just perfect, but they spin and go in the right window, but probably go like 8 yards further than my normal irons, which is amazing.
Oh, wow.
And then I got the Cobra Snakebite 52, 56, 60. And then I'm probably not allowed to tell you this, but I have a Odyssey 2-ball putter that I've been using since college. This thing is 24 years old.
See, I love stuff like that.
And I cannot get it out the bag. It's my baby. Yeah.
What golf ball? Are you a Titleist guy?
No, I use a Wilson.
Wilson. Awesome.
Wilson.
Cool. This is our first guest on that has said they use Wilson.
Yeah, I actually really love that Wilson staff ball. So the way that came about, obviously I teach Brendan, who's sponsored by Wilson, and they didn't have a ball for the longest time, and then they designed this Wilson staff and sent it to Brendan. And he's like, hey, like I've been kind of hitting this ball in practice, and I think it's really, really good. Can we test it? So we spent 2 months and we tested the Titleist, the TaylorMade, the Bridgestone, and the Wilson. And the Wilson, for him, for what he was looking for, was the best ball. His driver spun like on an average of like 150 less RPMs, but his irons actually moved. Once it hit the apex, it actually spun another, I think it was 300, which is what he was looking for. So he put it right in play. And it was so good. They were sending me a dozen. I wasn't playing back then, but they sent me some, and I was like, wow, this ball's incredible. And now they've come out with the red and the black. So I love the golf ball. I feel very fortunate to be able to play it.
Well, that's cool. I have to ask one more question just because I'm curious. What is it like? I haven't been to an event, but going from a PGA Tour event to a live event, like, is it as different as it seems, or is it like as fun as it looks? Like, what's it like for you to go coach at both of them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get in any trouble here.
Yeah, you don't have to. Now, you don't have to answer if it's good.
No. I mean, I think this is a great conversation to have, and people should know the differences. But in terms of, I've got players on the PGA Tour and the Live, and I'm very, very honored to be able to work on both of them. But as a coach, like, my life is infinitely better on the Live. I'm able to park at the golf course with the players. I'm able to eat with the team, with the players. There's no spectators on the Wednesday, Thursday before, so it's very easy to move around and get the work done. They're so good about transportation. There's tons of really, really cool events during the week that we're able to go to. We're usually staying at the same hotel as the players. So you really feel like I really feel like I'm part of that high flyer team with Phil Mickelson and Cameron Tringali and Andy Ogletree. The coaches feel part of the team. The caddies obviously feel part of the team. So everybody's eating together, hanging out together. It's practicing together here in Rancho. So it's been really a cool experience. In the PGA Tour, they got rid over COVID of coach dining. So it's like you parking miles away, getting a bus into the facility. So a lot of times you got to get there and sit around for an hour if you get there early enough. There's no dining, so a lot of times you got to hope your player brings something out, or you got to go and pay for something. So it's in terms of a coach's experience, it's totally different. But having said that, the PGA Tour has that little edge, right? Mm-hmm. You're at Hilton Head and you feel the history. You go to Riviera and you feel the history.
Yeah.
And Liv doesn't have that yet. So there's great things about both tours. I hope that they come together and sort it out, because I don't know about you guys, but I just don't find it that interesting to watch golf at the moment.
I want to see Bryson. Bryson's my guy, and I mean, he would have. I think he would have competed heads up with Scotty all season long, and it just would have been great for fans.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go on YouTube to look up and see the Live Team event. I would like some team events rotated into the PGA, but I want to see Bryson and Brooks and DJ. I want to see the guys battling the guys.
Yeah. The one thing when I'm out there is you unfortunately you kind of forget how many incredible players are out there on the lift.
Mm-hmm.
You just walk around and you're like, oh my God, I forgot about that guy. I mean, how good is, the Louis Oosthuizen's a great example. Oh, I forgot it. What Louis was there. Oh my God, Cam Smith's on this tour.
Right. Cam Smith's one of the big ones. He was top of the charts, and then
he was top 5 every week almost before he went.
Anything.
Incredible. I mean, it's an incredible tour with amazing players. But I agree with you, Zach. I would like to see the 4 major championships plus the players. I'd like to keep those historical events like Riviera, Jack Nicklaus's tournament, Bay Hill, Arnie's tournament, Tiger's tournament at Riv. Keep all those things that really mean something, and then maybe add 4 or 5 team events in there as well. That would be really interesting, getting all the guys back together.
Yeah.
Well, have you guys been to a Live event?
We haven't been.
Not yet.
We'd love to. We're not sold to any tour. We'd love to go check them both out.
Just let me know. I'm happy to get you tickets.
Hey, we will for sure. We'll get. We love making these connections with people like you, especially people that love the game like you do. Because we love golf, but I love hearing it from someone that's around it every day, and how you think about it, how you process it. So, even conversations, we didn't mean to keep you this long. I hope it hasn't been an issue.
Right. Oh, I love this.
But just hearing you talk about golf and your life with it is so interesting to us. So we appreciate it.
It always makes you appreciate it coming from a regular Joe perspective, where I play once or twice a month if I can. If I can't, I'm always watching YouTube videos and highlights.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talk to someone like yourself, and you're like, "Oh, there's so many levels to it that you never think of just watching it on TV."
Yeah,
and that really is a great point. And what's been really interesting, Zach, is and I'm not really in this world, but I get these billionaires coming up to take lessons with me at National, and they're talking about watching YouTube golf.
That's crazy.
Drop our page. Just say, these guys be still golf.
These guys are watching. These guys are going on YouTube to get their golf tips. I'm like, dude, you can pay for lessons with me, and you're going on YouTube to get your golf tips.
Yeah. They're looking up Rick Shields and Peter Finch, how to not hit a slice and stuff like that.
Yeah, but to your point now, golf has become, not just the PGA Tour; it's all these different fractions. And people are just kind of consuming it however they want to consume it, and
right.
Which is a fantastic thing. But what you don't want is it be so fragmented that these great things start to go away. Because it's our I think I'm probably a bit older than you guys, but it's people like me who need to be buying the country club memberships, who need to be tuning in on a Sunday and watching the PGA Tour golf. Like if that generation goes away because it's either too expensive or it's not interesting or I don't have the time because I'm spending it with my family, golf's in a tricky place. Like it's a worrying place to be because you need that next generation to go in and do all the same things that our parents did.
Well, hopefully, Liv makes its way back to Houston this fall. I mean, Houston or Nashville, because Nashville's probably the closest. So we make our way up and come visit you and have an in-person podcast. Would be sick.
That'd be awesome. I look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Chris, for coming on. Y'all go check out Chris on Instagram. He's got a lot of great tips on there. And if you just love golf, you get to see inside the ropes view of stuff.
Or Napoleon.
I was going to say the best Halloween costume ever is on Instagram, on Chris's Instagram. Go check it out. Appreciate you coming on, Chris.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And that was Chris Mayson. Amazing interview. Our first time PGA Tour winner, coach of the winner of the Solheim Cup, Team USA. A lot of cool, amazing information on there, Chris. So go check him out. Easily, probably one of my top 5 favorite guests we've had on now.
Yeah, super personable, humble, and down to earth.
Yeah, we'd love to get on a flight up to New York and go hang out with Chris. So, Chris, you still listening?
We ready. We go to Shot Shaver.
Oh yeah, see him all right there. Awesome. But go check out Chris. Real quick, we're going to transition into our picks for this week. The current tournament is the Worldwide Technology Championship for the PGA Tour. We're going to throw these out there real quick. I'm going Ludwig is my pick for this week.
I'm going Cam Young. I think he's in. Sometimes it's so hard to find out who's actually in the field this early in the week. So if Cam's in it, that's my pick. If not, I'll update it.
Yeah, so lock those in. And then the LPGA, of course, is at I think it's the Lotte Championship, one of those two. I'm going Jin Young Ko for this week. I'm ready for them to kind of make a trip back onto standard time so we don't have to watch it like 3 a.m. in the morning and whatnot. But that's my pick.
I'm going to go Ayaka Faru if she's in.
Yeah,
the LPGA is even harder.
It's even harder to find a field on a Tuesday. On a Monday. Today's Monday.
We're early.
It's hard to find a field. So those are our picks. What's coming up with BSG is we're about to put out our first attempt at breaking 50. While everybody else is hopping on YouTube, we did it, and we've actually got some good guests lined up. We're filming next Saturday, episode 2. So I guess spoiler if there's episode 2, we didn't break it on episode 1.
Well, I think we continue and see. So for one, once we break it, and for 2, how many times can we break it?
That's true. I
as
do like
our pros to play with. Without pros, it's not worth it.
I do like our odds with this next guest simply because of the course we're playing and the guest.
Course. Yeah.
Even from the tips, the course is only 63, so the reds are going to be short.
Yeah.
So they got that coming up. Next episode, maybe me and Zach will kind of talk a little bit more about BSG and what's going on for 2025. We'll save that for another episode. Last thing I want to ask on the drop zone question. What's your go-to golf course snack or beverage?
If they have a Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
A Dr. Pepper is so clutch. The 23 flavors, just change it. And snack, give me a Snickers bar.
It's a cold one.
Not too cold, though. I don't want to break my
hurt your teeth.
Yeah. That's if they don't have hot food. If they have hot food, give me a hot dog.
Let's say I love a blue Gatorade, a light blue Gatorade, cold, and then something about a chicken salad sandwich on a golf course is just, I don't know if that's considered a snack.
What if they don't have real food?
I'm going to bring my own gummies, some nerd clusters. Those are my go-to. I got to bring them with me.
Nerds are. I wish you could play 9, run to Sonic, get a nerd slush, and then come back.
That'd be sick. I'm going to start throwing in like a tumbler and bringing it with me. That'd be so cool.
Oh, yeah. Just stop by and can y'all fill up my Yeti?
Yeah. So let us know your answers for that. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're at 1,020 subs. I think we're on the road to 2,000 now. We're skipping 1,500. We want to see 2,000. So make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us over on Instagram and TikTok. And we'll see you next week for episode 125. See ya.
Peace.